How's it hanging, guys? Aaron from PhoneDog.com. You know, this year has been chock full of tablets, be it the LG G Slate, the Motorola Zoom, BlackBerry Playbook, tablets, all across the spectrum. But I have in my hand what is quite possibly one of the most popular tablets out there. At least that's what you say. It's one of the most popular tablets out there. Here it is, the Galaxy Tab 10.1, made by Samsung. This is a Google I/O version that we got at Google I/O for attending. 5,000 given away to all 5,000 attendees, and you can see that it's got that special edition Google I/O back cover as well. So we saw this at Mobile World Congress. They've changed the design around a little bit for the States. Nice thin light device with an awesome feature set. Is this the tablet to have when it comes out? The rumor's June 8th. But of course, as you know, those dates can always change. Is this the tablet to have? Should you go with the Playbook, the Zoom, something else in the market? We're going to try and find that out in the review. But first, special thanks to our friends at Best Buy. They haven't hooked us up with tablets, but what they do is hook us up with phones so we can give them to you in the One Paw Bandit game. Cool smartphones, Droid X2s, Sidekick 4Gs, things like that. When you go to Best Buy Mobile, you don't pay rebates. You walk out the door paying that after rebate price. So if it's $199 after rebate, that's the price you're paying at Best Buy Mobile. Enough of that, let's get into it. Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1, is this a tablet to have? Or should you go with one of the other 47,000 tablets on the market? We'll find out. Android lovers should rejoice because the iPad competitor really is finally here. Here it is, Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. This is the Google I/O special edition. So you'll notice on the back, a little bit of a different battery cover with a little Android robots marching along the back and kind of a silver chrome around the display. But it looks great. I mean, it absolutely, you know, look how thin it is on the sides and on the back. It looks a lot like the iPad 2, feels a lot like the iPad 2, and is a great alternative for those people that, you know, like the way the iPad looks, or the iPad 2 looks rather, but want to go with something with Android. Now this baby is pretty packed. It has a 1 GHz dual-core NVIDIA Tegra 2 processor, 8 megapixel camera on the back, so whopping awesome. Whopping awesome? I don't really know if that makes sense, but 8 megapixel camera on the back, 2 megapixel camera on the front, 3.5mm headphone jack up there, along with a power button, volume rocker, and then a proprietary charging port down below. Then you have your speakers on the side. So it's a packed, feature-rich tablet. It's getting upgraded to Android 3.1 in the coming weeks, according to what they said at Google I/O. So it's right there, 10.1-inch display, a little bit bigger than the iPad 2s. But like I said, you know, when this launches, assuming it still launches around the June timeframe, June 8th, somewhere in there, like we think it will, it's going to be the tablet to have on the Android side. Now right now this one's running Android 3.0, and you can see, if you watch my video, the Motorola Zoom, any of those tablets, the G Slate, things like that, you're pretty familiar with how Android 3.0 works. There's not a lot of difference here. There are some bugs in this one, which is, like I said, this is the Google I/O special edition one they gave away at I/O, and you can see, like, for example, the time is off. It's on Greenwich Mean Time. Well, made the mistake of not setting the time because I wanted to do the unboxing as quickly as possible. Once you set it, according to the firmware right now, you can't go back and reset it. Even with a system reset, it still stays at the time you set it at. So a little bug or two here or there, but other than that, it's a near production build of the Galaxy Tab 10.1. Now on the device, you get Amazon Kindle. Actually, I've installed Bank of America. Amazon MP3. You get the typical Google stuff, clock, contacts, downloads, etc. Gmail. Excuse me. You get Music Hub, which is Samsung's, as it sounds, Music Hub. Movie Studio. You get Pulse, Quick Office, Samsung Apps, WeatherBug, and more. So you get quite a few apps. And over here at My Apps, you can see the ones that I've downloaded or updated. Ustream, Bank of America, Twitter, things like that. But anyway, stock build of Android 3.0, no real changes here. You can see, just to give you a quick run through of the different menus, what they look like. You have your usual 5 home screens, which I can press and hold to bring up widgets, app shortcuts, wallpapers, and more. Let me move these lights a little bit so you can see. I know the screen's pretty glossy. I'll shift those up just a tad so you can see, or at least try to see the screen. You can see Amazon MP3, analog clock. Here's some widgets I can pre-install. So I have contacts, currently reading, email if I wanted to, Gmail. Let's bring up Market, for example. We can pop Market over here, and you can go back over here. We'll see what we have. See if it'll load up. Looks like it's just kind of stuck at the moment. But you can see for videos, for example, I can flip back and forth through those videos. So they're dynamic widgets, which is nice. So instead, slide back through those pretty quickly. And you can see how quick the tablet is. That dual-core processor really works wonders on this. So you can see here again, another dynamic widget between your favorite pages on the internet. and then in more. So anyway, back to that. App shortcuts, wallpapers, and more. So I can change the wallpaper if I want to, and you get quite a few new wallpapers on these honeycomb tablets. Let's do this one. That actually looks pretty cool. So bam, it changed it. Now I don't like that. It's hard to see on camera. Let's go back to wallpaper. Let's do the bright one again so we can keep it easy to see on camera with the little Android bots. So now we have Android bots on the front and on the back. So cover the widgets, cover the wallpapers. The first thing I want to jump into the browser, because if you haven't seen one of my Android 3.0 videos, or you haven't seen Honeycomb in general, the browser is such a huge improvement on this as opposed to tablets of the past. You know, because really when you look at it, Android 2.2, Android 2.3, they're optimized for phones. They're not optimized for tablets. So you see a lot of things that really don't work well on a 10.1 inch display or 9.7 inch display, etc. But I mean, this thing is just top notch. They've done a great job with the browser. Looks more desktop-ish. You can see over here I can just add tabs. It's that easy. And I have kind of a desktop type interface up here where I can do forward, back, refresh, favorites, search, and more. So I can go up here, I can see new tabs, I can go to my downloads, my settings. So really it's like a desktop experience on a mobile platform. So here's PhoneDog. And of course this is obviously, you know, running Honeycomb, so Flash is enabled. Our advertisements are running on the page. And you can just see how quick that is. Now there's a little bit of checkerboarding. I'll go over here. A little bit of checkerboarding to get the idea. Very, very fast. And zoomed in like that, the text looks good. You can see going as far as we can. That's as far as we can go in. And then we'll say that, for example. So you can see the text there, and then all the way zoomed out, you can see as well. So it's just a good looking display. Colors really pop. Text is easy to read. And then of course here is the page. Now let's turn it up in portrait mode as well so you can see the differences. Let me get it down here by the camera so you can see. And same thing applies here. You can pinch to zoom in if you want to. Scroll over. Bring it in, bring it out. So very easy to use. The browser, favorite part about Honeycomb, browser is incredibly simple. And then when I want to get rid of these tabs, I just click the X's at the top of the tab, just like you would on Chrome on the desktop. So very similar. I click there, bring that back. I'm going to favorites. We're going to set PhoneDog as a favorite. So you see how it pops up, kind of a menu within a menu like iOS does on the iPad. So we have news and phone reviews, PhoneDog, bam, okay. So now we're saved to bookmarks. So when we go into our bookmarks, let me go out of that sec. Hang on one second, sorry. Let's bring that back up. And let's go there. Sorry about that, bookmarks. So let's go down here, and then there it is, PhoneDog right there. So very simple browser experience. Now the buttons down here at the bottom, you'll see a couple. You'll see back, you'll see this button which returns you to home, and then you'll see the multitasking button which shows you what's open. Market's open, YouTube's open, and nothing else at the moment. Now these are in the process of being customized. You'll notice that a lot of the tablets that come out in the second half of the year will have gotten rid of these arrows in favor of a button like home, or a button that really, you know, identifies it a little bit better as opposed to this. Because this is really kind of trial and error. You play with it, you discover what it does, and then you realize what the button's function is. But for new people, it's really not going to work so well. So you can see a lot of people wouldn't know that that's home, for example, until after they played with it. So they're going to launch some buttons. Some of the manufacturers, rather, the second half of the year, you'll see some unique buttons down there. So you have your clock, you have your Wi-Fi indicator, and you have battery. When you click on it down here, it's going to bring up, well, in my case, Twitter, and it says, you know, you have X new mentions, you have 53 new messages. Shows me the Wi-Fi account I'm on, 77% in terms of battery life, and I can access extended settings with flight mode, Wi-Fi, things like that. So you can bring those up. So you get a lot of functionality from the sides of the device, not just there. But if we go up to here to Google, I can Google search from the desktop. I can do a voice search. Apps are here. I can click a plus and bring up that same thing that I brought up by tapping and holding on the display. Let me show you the keyboard on this as well, the stock Android keyboard. I'm going to show it to you in the Gmail application because I'm so impressed with how they've done this. You have your two columns here. You have one with your inbox, starred, chats, your different options that you have within the email account, and then you have your emails over here. So let's load up Android Team. Yeah, let's load that up. So you can see, respond, compose mail, and then I will type, hey there, how are you? So very easy to type on. And I can hit forward, I can hit send. I just like the way it's organized. The keyboard's here. Let me see if that still removes. No, it doesn't. Okay. So get rid of the keyboard by the little shortcut button. You can see up here, reply all, forward. So I can either reply all, I can forward it. And I like how I can change it around in the actual email itself. So save draft, send, I can trash it. I'll do that, bam, discard. But you get the idea, really nice keyboard. I'm going to go back in here, take a look at it again. So you have that, you have a dedicated smiley face button down here that you can use the smiley faces to your heart's content. You have 1, 2, 3 over here with a row of symbols, or plethora of symbols rather, and then you have a nice big keyboard. Now in 10.1 inches, it's nice and big, it's easy to use, and of course you have it in portrait mode. Now with portrait, you know, something like the G Slate where it's an 8.9 inch display, it's pretty easy to put it in portrait and thumb out a quick message. Whereas with this, you know, 10.1 inches even turned into portrait mode is still pretty long, so I find it kind of hard to get in the middle. So let's say, let's load this up and say, hey there, how are you doing? So it just requires a little bit of turning the tablet back and forth like that, as opposed to something like maybe a 7-inch display or an 8.9 inch display where that isn't the case, or isn't an issue rather. So we'll discard that message. Here's what it looks like though. You can see, scroll up, scroll down, and that header stays at the top, just like on Android smartphones, the header stays at the top. So if you're in the middle of an email, you're like, I need to respond to somebody, I can either hit reply directly from that, ba-bam, people still use that, ba-bam, and respond directly from there. And then once you're in an email, you have all of your other emails over here, and then think of the column over here. We'll back out of that email, for example, and then it brings over the column with all the different options, starred, chats, things like that. But when we go back in, puts the emails over on this side. So it's just a clean, good-looking interface. They've done a really good job with it, and then obviously when it's in portrait, there's not enough room, so it just opens up the email itself. So it's clean, it's functional, and it looks great, and the keyboard is one of the best that I've used on the tablet. I would definitely give it a close second, just barely behind iOS's keyboard.